Welcome and thank you for tuning in. You're listening to the Beyond 50 radio program. I'm Daniel Davis. All the rage here today is that of CBD. Everybody's talking about its special properties and how it can actually help us work with not only curing particular diseases or at least reversing their symptoms, but also just how it can actually help us have a better state of being. Joining us here on the Beyond 50 radio program today is just such a person who is a survivor of stage 4 systematic metastasized colon cancer. He also hails from the Oregon coast and also calls himself a CBD technician specialist working part-time for a hemp store that is one of Oregon's largest family-owned CBD retailers. We're going to learn about how CBD full-spectrum tinctures and edibles has helped our guests to control pain, inflammation, and severe anxiety, which can be associated with having cancer. We'll also learn about CBD products to explain what they are, what they do, and provide accurate information on the products as well. I'd like to welcome to the Beyond 50 radio program today our guest, Kenneth Yalapa. Kenneth, thank you for being on the program today.
Well, you're welcome, Daniel.
Now, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you mentioned, I'm 51 years old. I'm a 4.5-year survivor of stage 4 metastasized colon cancer. Live here in the North Coast. It's just a simpler way of life for me. And I do work in transparency. I work at the CBD hemp store here. They're the largest retailer of products in Oregon. It's my calling, my gift. I just like to help people improve their quality of life, and in doing so, it helps my quality of life as well.
So let's talk about how CBD. Now, what does CBD mean exactly?
Well, CBD is short for cannabidiol, which is a naturally occurring compound. It's found in the hemp plant, and it also is naturally produced in very, very low levels within our bodies, naturally. And CBD is just one of over 100 photocannabidiols researched to have holistic properties. Tinctures are one of the most effective that people are hearing about these days because it's really economical and it's a wonderful way of getting CBD into our bodies. And that affects what's called the endocannabinoid system. It's currently there's several Oregon companies that are leading the way with these tinctures, and it's just so exciting to have access to products that work with our bodies naturally.
Now, tell us how CBD has been used in your case to help you.
Well, with mine, the CBDs, it's been used, for me, I used it in a very high dose with edibles and tinctures, and they address the pain, and I used them to transition off opiates 4 years ago when I was in the hospital quite a bit, lots of surgeries. And for me, I wanted to get off of them as quickly as possible without severe withdrawals, and CBD were able to do that, be it with gummies or hard candies. Tinctures were the most effective for me. There is no wrong choice, but for me, tinctures were the most effective. CBD is also, with pain management, the hardest part about it is you have to be dedicated to doing it every day. It's just essential to have a consistent dose of daily consumption if you're using a tincture. You're keeping it in a low level in your body. You're keeping a consistent source of resources for your body to address pain, inflammation. Yeah, I'm so thankful that the science is there and it's working. And my quality of life, and in short, my quality of life, the ability to live and live well, was only made possible because of CBD products.
Now, let's go ahead and talk about, because you're out of Oregon, the CBD brands that you would recommend for people.
Oh, yeah, we're fortunate here in Oregon. There's a lot of great brands that are coming out of Oregon these days. Social CBD is excellent. Healthy Roots is excellent. Flora Sophia out of Southern Oregon they're superior. They have an amazing line of tinctures, and right now there is another company that's making a lot of waves right now, and that's Roots of Life CBD brand. You can, they're out of Portland. They're a good one though. You can find them at rootscbd.co. If you're interested, and they started 3 years ago. It's a family-owned company right here in Portland, Oregon. So they offer, what I like about them is, because I'm using their products myself right now, they offer full spectrum They offer CBD lotions, creams, rubs. They also offer isolated CBD, and they offer broad-spectrum CBD. So that company is making a lot of waves because they have a very good product line, I guess is the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's go ahead and talk about, things such as the kinds of things you've got. Full-spectrum oil better than broad-spectrum to use. I mean, what exactly does that mean?
That's an excellent question, and that's one of the more nuanced questions. Full-spectrum oil I consider it to be the best because it has the full cannabidiols in it. It does have less than 0.3 THC, which is a federal guideline for hemp oil, and that THC does provide what's called an entourage effect. In essence, the sum of the parts of all the full cannabinoids with a little THC has a net benefit greater than the individual parts. However, there's people out there, Roots of Life is wonderful. They realize there's people out there who don't want any THC at all, either due to profession or personal reasons. So they have offered a new product that I'm pretty excited about. It's called a broad-spectrum tincture. What makes that one so fantastic is that it provides all the healthy cannabidiols of a full spectrum for your body to use, but they've taken out all the THC. So that's pretty exciting, to be honest.
So that being said, then, we certainly answer the question whether or not CBD makes you high, and apparently that's not the case here.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. In fact, it's 0.3% or less is the federal guideline for CBD hemp stores. We're actually considered nutritional and food supplements. You cannot get high on CBD. It's a non-psychoactive ingredient in the marijuana plant. Industrial hemp is what you're hearing a lot of these days. We're hearing about a lot of crops going in, and that's because hemp is becoming the main source for extracting high-quality medical CBD. It's perfectly suited. Hemp is perfectly suited for that, actually, and it's exciting that it's in all 50 states to grow now as of last year because hemp-based plants are bred to contain low or no THC to start with, and they're an ideal plant here to process into finished products while they meet the stringent standard of less than 0.3% THC. Many of our products are less than 0.1 that we carry in the store for various companies. So pretty stringent. Federal standards are pretty stringent, and we follow all of them.
So it sounds to me then that CBD is certainly a safe health product, but what kind of people is this for? Is this really for everybody?
It's a very safe product. It has benefits for everybody, but let's be clear, it's not a cure-all wonder drug or a silver bullet to solve all your problems.
No, of course not. That's funny how people actually go out there and, really not do all the good things for their body and then expect that one thing to just go in and solve everything, But, the whole idea, as we've been broadcasting this program here going on 17 years, and we've brought on a lot of experts from around the world on a variety of subjects when it comes to health is a holistic approach. And if you don't approach it that way, then you can only expect the kind of minimum results that you may or may not even get.
Exactly. Yeah. It's up to each of us. You have to monitor your own body, and ownership of it is really what with CBD. I think with almost anything, you have to take ownership of it and listen to your own body, and that is the most effective way to heal yourself.
Now, a lot of times, too, it becomes very important, and this goes across the board, especially when you look at products, for instance, in like vitamins, and they don't have the kind of mandated testing and stamp of approval from what is known as the Federal Drug Administration. So when it comes to authenticity, what are some things people should look for when it comes to verify, both product testing as well as authenticity?
That's wonderful. That's a great question because I deal with this every day. It's so important that people educate themselves. As a safe rule, I recommend buying products when you're looking at products in the store. You can look for three things on a basic finished product: the CBD content, the THC content and compliance of being under 0.3%, and lab certification of analysis, or otherwise known as a COA. Oregon, I'm fortunate. I live in Oregon, and we're the only back-end test state. And why is that important? It's a finished product that is tested at the end, not the raw components at the beginning. With back-end testing, the consumer is confident that, one, he's going to purchase a product that meets or exceeds the CBD medicine listed on the packaging. Two, the products will be at or below the 0.3 threshold of THC, and it's not going to get you high. That's my biggest thing I deal with every day is I have to remind people you're not going to get high. And the third thing is there's just no ability to be shady manipulation of ingredients, be it natural or synthetic, because, again, on a back-end test, it's the finished product testing, so you know that with an Oregon COA, it's safe and it will not expose you to any harmful or questionable ingredients. Very fortunate where I live.
Now, because we were, people, of course, associate this with marijuana and so forth, there's always the thought, well, is this something someone can overdose on? Or, what happens if you take too much? And I think this is also a very important question, the idea of taking too much, because people in America tend to see that when something works well or is really good for you, that they believe more must be better.
Yeah. Yes, and I tell people that is not the case here. More is not necessarily better. That gets back to what I was saying, that each person is individual, everybody's different. And the overdose is an excellent question because it addresses concerns, and it's a valid concern for a lot of people. And I can tell you currently there is no known low overdose level of CBD. Think of CBD like a natural herb or a vitamin or you could even, some people liken it to eating a bunch of green leafy vegetables. Can you really overdose on kale? You might get sick of it, but not really.
Right.
The most common side effects that I've found, because I have done high dose, up to 200 milligrams a day when I first came out of the hospital and was dealing with transitioning off opiates, I found that I slept more in a 24-hour period, and in some cases I would have looser stools than normal, more porridge-like stools. But that's it. And those are the main things I've heard in over 5 years of not only medically treating myself, but dealing with my clients and individuals. That's the worst I've heard from them as well. But that's only my experience. But currently, there's really no known overdose level that's known for CBD.
Now, that's, certainly good to know. Now, let's talk about the benefits of CBD and what the benefits of those things are.
Well, people come into the store and they come to look into CBD for help with quality of life issues. That's the most common: pain, inflammation, sleep, anxiety. Those are probably the most common ones. CBD strains these days have gotten so nuanced, and in turn, products are being produced now and developed and offered that 4 years ago, when I was getting serious on this, they just didn't exist. And now we have CBDs that can address more serious ailments or lessen the side effects of their ailments and maybe improve quality of life for things like, alcoholism, cancer, epilepsy, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. Substance addiction is another thing. I've helped people transition off addiction issues, and their quality of life is improved. Most people, very good results for most people, improving their body function and just what you had mentioned earlier. I think you said overall general sense of being, well health. That is, I hear that a lot once people start the regimen, and happy tears when people come back and tell me that it's working. It's why I do what I do.
Now, you were mentioning earlier that the body actually, and I believe I heard this right, actually produces this naturally. Is that true?
That is true.
Okay, let's talk about that because that's something I've never heard of before.
Yeah, we have what's in our system is called the endocannabinoid system, or no, I'm going to call it the ECS is what it's called, and it's natural in our body. It's been in humans since humans were humans from the very beginning. It's a unique communication system compromised of what's called CB1 and CB2 receptors, and they're found throughout the body that they affect important functions. It includes how a person feels, moves, and reacts, our physiology. The ECS, it's the catalyst behind many of the benefits of CBD, why CBD does what it does. CBDs interact with the endocannabinoid system, and it's shown, to decrease anxiety. It's also helped with memory. So, and it's an amazing thing because it's naturally with our body that our bodies naturally and view it as a nice supplement that the body has. It doesn't view it as a toxic invader, similar to like synthetic tablets or pills for pain. CBD isn't viewed that way because it's naturally produced, so our body harnesses its properties naturally. Science is just coming in. It's almost as if we're rediscovering something that's always been there. Getting back to that. That's all.
Now, when it comes to dosages, obviously there isn't no set amount a person should take, but how does someone determine that?
Oh, very good question. That's really important. There's no set amount, like you said, and CBD determined, you have to look at height, weight, your physical condition. Those are main factors. Age, chronic pain, and the severity of a debilitating condition or quality of life issue comes into play. As a general rule, it seems to appear that about 33 milligrams a day of CBD is an effective medical maintenance-based dose for chronic issues. Now, for more severe chronic conditions, it's not uncommon to see individuals take 25 to 50 milligrams twice a day for a total of 50 to 100 milligrams of CBD per day. That's not uncommon. Again, currently I want to remind you that there is no known overdose level of CBD. Very safe. The person has to look at bodies and find what I call their sweet spot. Most people come to it pretty quickly with tinctures within a week or two. They actually find their sweet spot. And
now, obviously, then you answer the question, that it doesn't really have the same effect on everyone. Everybody is different. And I think that's something that people need to appreciate understanding, because a lot of times we get the message, especially this day and age, that it's a one-size-fits-all situation, and it isn't.
Oh, no. It's just the same with, not all diets work for everybody. Not all CBD works the same for everybody. I liken it to, there's only 4 blood types, but every blood type acts differently in terms of how it moves things through our body. So everyone's going to respond differently, the same with different strains of CBD moving through your body. Again, age, weight, diet, exercise, activity level, sleep, water consumption is huge, and attitude. They all play a part in how CBDs are absorbed and utilized in your body. And this is true for anything, and not just CBDs or supplements. It's with every hydration is what I think is the most overlooked thing, to be honest, because that hydration affects how the body absorbs and utilizes medicine and supplements, and that's the highway transportation system of it moving through your body. If you have proper hydration, you're going to have the most efficient absorption of your medicines, of your CBDs. If you're dehydrated, it's not going to be absorbed quite as effectively. So the key is each person has to listen to their own body, make their own decisions, own evaluations as to what they feel is the best choice to help them with improving their own well-being.
Now, talk about, if you can, the different types of products that contain CBD.
There's so many. This is one of the most exciting parts of the industry, and something we educate ourselves almost every day. We have to keep up on it because there's just new applications and uses of CBDs to a variety of products every day. Most common ones, tinctures, capsules, gummies, teas, chocolate confections, lotions, disposable vape pens, salves, oils, there's syrups even these days, and carbonated beverages. I really enjoy some of the new carbonated beverages. They're fantastic. And that's just a handful right now.
Wow, pretty exciting stuff. There's no doubt about that. Now let's talk about the research that's going on out there on all this.
Ugh. Wow, there's just so much to try and cover. It's even overwhelming for me, even after being in it 7 years, and just trying to keep up with all the innovation, the research, and just the practical application of CBDs in our daily lives. It's the most exciting things moving forward, I think, for me, is watching the science coming in more and more. People are really fascinated with how the CBD interacts with that endocannabinoid system I was mentioning, or the ECS. It's becoming more and more just so nuanced. And we're finding out so much more about our bodies. And with the strains and products that are becoming more specialized, back from clients continue to pour in. Amazing. That's what's the most exciting thing, is just seeing how it's interacting with the body and the science. That's probably the most interesting latest research, is the biofeedback from people and from the science side of how it works with our bodies naturally, and there all along to begin with.
Now, how can people find out more? Is there a website they can go to do their own research, things like that?
Yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, there is the Roots of Life brand that's been really hot. That's the rootscbd.co. And that'll tell you a lot about, and there's wonderful educational resources there for people to pull up and read that explain the endocannabinoid system, that explain those receptors in our bodies. There's also examples of how to do dosage, charts for dosage for each person, so you can kind of read and educate yourselves without actually having to necessarily go into a store if people are uncomfortable with that. And that's the Roots of Life people have done an amazing job. Flora Sophia is another company as well. The biggest thing, if you type in Oregon CBD, you're going to find a lot of things come up. Oregon's one of the leaders of the CBD market. So, like I said, though, a lot of them come out of Portland. Social CBD, Healthy Roots is out of Hillsboro, but the newest one that's just catching a lot of traction right now is Roots of Life, because of that broad spectrum that they've just come out with recently. It's people's attention.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's certainly an exciting industry. It's funny how much taboo it seemed to be 70 years ago, but we're in a day and an age people are saying, well, let's just find out things for ourselves and evolve this. And then the biggest thing is getting to understand, do the research that's necessary. As I always like to say on the show, we presented, something for you to consider, but go out there and do your homework. Don't just, take our word for it. Just get out there and do your homework and find out more about this on your own, and, then take the next steps that are necessary there. And so how can people find out more about this? Where do they go?
They can, the rootscbd.co. There's also the CBD hemp store where I work. You can go on there, and when you peruse those websites, you can click on the products, and there's drop-down menus that show the ingredient lists. There's ways that you can all the information is pretty transparent there on most of the CBD websites these days. People are demanding that. So that's one place to go that I would recommend. There's just multiple companies, but if you click on the CBD hemp store, if you click on the bottom of that one, it'll link you. There's a bunch of links down there that links to all these different companies. There's some a lot of information there, educational links as well. So probably my best recommendation for most people if they want to delve into it further. The Roots of Life website does have a brochure, I believe, on their website that I think is one of the best things produced in the last few years. And I use it to help educate, and people are really grateful because they can take it. They don't have to necessarily buy a product in a store, but I definitely want to give them the educational material to wherever they go. That particular brochure is going to help people no matter where you live. It's going to help you understand CBDs, what they do, and give you the basic information as to what the terminologies such as full spectrum and broad spectrum and isolate. It's all explained in that brochure on their website, which I'm very thankful for them for putting in the time and energy and resources and making it available to us at the CBD Hemp Store. So thank you, Roots of Life.
Well, thank you very much for being on the program today to explain all of this to us and share the insights about not only the industry itself, but, how all this works and what it's all about. And again, it was really surprising to find out the body actually produces this on its own. Pretty amazing stuff to learn about.
Yeah, it surprises me as well. Every day I get surprised, and thanks for helping me at least try to educate more people. That's why I do what I do, is just to take away some of the bias and myth about hemp and CBDs, because it really has the potential to help us with a lot of ailments and quality of life issues moving forward in our modern life.
Absolutely. Kenneth, thank you for being on the Beyond 50 radio program today. And one last time, go ahead and give out that website again.
Oh, yeah, rootscbd.co. This one, and then there's C-store, CBDhempstore.com. Those are the best two places to check us out.
Well, very good. Again, thank you for being on the Beyond 50 radio program today.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. We want to thank you, the listener out there, for joining us. You can also discover more at beyond50radio.com. That is the number 50. We do encourage you to sign up for our weekly e-newsletter and stay up to date with what's going on in the world of Beyond 50 as well as our upcoming shows. I'm Daniel Davis. Thank you for joining us. This is the Beyond 50 radio program, and remember, live your day past halfway.